Welcome everyone. Like every year at the EuroPython conference, we organize these Ask Me Anything sessions that usually it can take up to the hour, sometimes maybe a bit longer. And the idea for this is to clarify questions that most of you might have with the process. Maybe you're curious to understand how things work in the inside, and maybe we managed to do a very good job that you feel that this process can really get your help, and maybe you join as a volunteer in the conference. Who knows? So, my name is Christian. I will be one of the people working in the program this year as the couple of years. And with me also, there are other two members of the program team. So I will leave you some space now in case you want to introduce yourself. Let's start with you, Julia, since you're also part of the team last year.
So I'm Yulia Barabash. Last year I was part of program team where I was helping to create the schedule of EuroPython 2025. This year I also part of board and I will help to organize EuroPython 2026. I am based in München and I think it's everything from my side. And the next one we can start with Arthur.
Hi, I'm Artur. I'm based in Krakow. I'm also on the board, and I also used to help with the program team a couple of years ago. And I'm just listening on the call here if somebody has any specific questions today. But with that, I'll give it back to Christian because I wasn't paying attention what's happening. Sorry.
No, don't worry about it. We have a few members of the board, directors here. I will not force you all folks to say hellos, but you can at some point randomly say it. But let's focus now on the program part. I think Maria Jose, you are a new member of the program team. So you want to maybe introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. From my side, my name is Maria Jose. I am from Barcelona, based in Berlin, and I have been helping a bit in the past EuroPython with pilot these events, and one hand here, one hand there. And this year I thought, that was not enough. I can do a bit more. And this year also I joined the program team to see if I can help a bit on the program task. And this is from my side. Very excited.
Cool. Then, as I said, dear board members, this is not about you, it's about us, the most cool team in the whole conference. Now, I don't want to put you in the spot now. I know you're joining here listening mode. I would like for you to pay some attention. Raquel posted a message on the chat, sorry, with a few technical details of how the talk will work. Just for your understanding, I will spend some minutes explaining more or less all the details of the CfP. And later on, we will go to some QA session. Of course, this QA session is the most important part for you because we really expect for you to ask all the questions that you might have. We will enable later, maybe you want to use Zoom for asking the questions. You can also raise your hand if you want and ask him like directly via voice. But also we have prepared a list of questions that we notice that typically they pop up in most of the sessions that we host from previous editions. So the program team. First of all, it's very important that we had this tradition. I don't know if it's a good one or a bad one, that we used to extend the deadline of the call for proposals. It's stopping this year. I know you might feel, yeah, for sure you will. No, we will not give extra days, not 24 hours, not just a couple of hours so I can send my submissions. The CfP deadline is on the 15th of February, and this will not be extended. So I really encourage you, if you want to submit your applications, do it as soon as possible. We know that January might be a complicated month, but on the positive side, it's almost finishing. So I hope that in February, you might have some more time to work on your proposals and submit them as soon as possible. The other positive aspect of you submitting your proposal fast is because we are running this year, I hope we can do it fully, a little initiative that we started last year, which is to provide you some preliminary feedback. So the idea for this is that our limit is 100, but I don't know if we will be able to do them all. That for the first proposals that we have in our system, we will take some time, maybe a few days, hopefully a week before the CFP ends, to send you back an email with all the feedback that we have on your proposals. This usually doesn't happen. Usually when we start to review, it's something that people start voting, discussing and everything, and you have no option to change this. So the idea of this is that the first proposals that we have in the system will be able to get some feedback from our side. This feedback, of course, can be easily transformed into a conversation, so we encourage you to only ask for clarification of points, not, oh, can you review it again? Because the program team is very busy during the first months of the conference, and the only time that we have a little bit more time is the conference itself, sometimes. But we will not have maybe time to reply to your follow-up questions. So only for clarification they will be. So we are hoping to maybe reach the first 100 proposals this year. And just to give you an idea, we are already at 63 proposals. So if you haven't had the time, maybe after this call you feel motivated to send one of the proposals that you have been working on. Maybe you tried something locally and you said, okay, now it's time for me to just jump into the EuroPython conference and submit the proposal as soon as possible. So that's on that side. In case you haven't noticed, the website with some preliminary information is already there. In the website, the most important thing for you is this message that Raquel just posted, that you have this direct link for Pretalks, which is the platform that we use for submitting proposals. You find it there, and as I said before, deadline on February 15, no extensions. If you haven't heard the news so far, I hope you did because you read this message about joining this session. The conference will be from the 13th to the 19th of July in Krakow, in Poland this year. So please check, of course, all the connections and possibility, visa, everything, because we want to encourage and enable people from all over the place, sometimes even outside Europe, to attend. But we also understand that there are things that can happen there that can put some more constraints to your trip. We are sadly not in a position that we have some political contacts to negotiate visas or speeding up processes. So the sooner you can take care of this, the better, at least to be familiarized with the process, mostly for the folks, of course, outside Europe. And some other detail. By the way, Julia, Maria Jose, if at some point I'm saying something that you want to complement, please just unmute yourself and jump into the call. Similar to you all board members, if I say something that is completely false, you can correct me. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that in case you're not familiarized with the process, what usually happens is when we reach the deadline of the CFP, there are two parallel processes that start ongoing for reviewing the proposals. The first one is that we will be opening a form for people interested into helping reviewing proposals. They will use the same platform, Pretalks, and this will happen for a couple of weeks. And then people give some scores, some comments. This is something that will not be visible for you. We will handle that as a program team and trying to get the best out of it. We try to of course, encourage people to review anonymously. And we also review the reviews, which sounds very funny, but it's the reality, because we also know that sometimes reviewers might be wrong in their opinions and everything. So that's why, at least in the program team this year and every year, we try to have a very broad aspects, different profiles in the team. So we have people more familiarized with topics about machine learning, with AI, visualization, maybe some hardware, more deep dive into internals, web, and everything. So we have people that with a good knowledge can judge your proposals, get these reviews, and provide a proper assessment. But in parallel, there is also another review that will be happening. And maybe, Julia, you want to share a little bit of like how the community voting works on who can participate in this process?
Yes. So as Christian mentioned, there's two types of reviews. One is reviewers, that it will be another people and reviewing our talks, and another was community voting that basically will be open almost to the people who visit EuroPython in the past, or who was the speaker, or also who applied for EuroPython 2026 as a speaker. And at that point, they will be able to access website where they will able to vote for this talk and also specify comment about the talk. And this will be accessible after that end of proposal will be closed, and we will also give people the link where you will be able to access all the talks. We will do not show informations about the speakers, so it will be all without names, so people will not able to guess the name. We only show the title and description, so we try to have this fair as much as possible. Additionally, after that, we will also gather statistics on the talks, and it will also be taken as a input for deciding the program schedule. Right, Christian? Perfect.
Yeah, so the idea why we do this is not because we like to complicate things. It's because we believe that it's fair to have reviews on your proposal from people that are familiar with that topic, but at the same time of people that has been attending the conference, has been participating as volunteer or even speakers in the conference. So that's why then the program team needs to meet a couple of times, many times sometimes, grab these two feedback that you get for your proposal and make a decision out of it. But don't worry, there's a lot of time, and it's not that we have nasty people around that would like for you to fail everything. We really are here to help you. And on that topic, I think that I would like to maybe to ask you also, Maria Jose, since you also have been participating in a few call for proposal for PECON-US or PyLadiesCon, another conference. In your opinion, what do you expect, at least, for example, for a good proposal when you are reviewing one, since you have been reviewing a few? What do you expect?
Perfect. Thank you for this question, because it's a question that I always, or information that I always like to share. For me, a good proposal gonna be one that kind of have a structure, that you have a clear title, you have a clear objective, you explain what you want to show, and at the end, what people gonna learn. What I also realized lately from different conferences that Christian was mentioning before is that there are moments that we are losing the humanization of the abstract creation, and I will encourage you to make it human. Why I'm saying that is because it's hard to be reviewing the same kind of abstract with the same topic, almost with the same structure, one and another, and could be just done a bit different. And I encourage you to just humanize your proposal. In case that you use AI, please do a post-processing or reshape it, because maybe your idea is amazing, and just because of the use of the AI could be very tough later on, the evaluation. Also, something that I love to see in the proposals is to have an outline, understanding what are kind of your structure, what are you gonna show on which point, on kind of a structuring your talk. And also, I encourage people to share things with passion. Try to convince people that this is something that gonna have a wow effect, and it's like a storytelling. Tell me that this is an amazing thing, amazing talk to go. This is kind of my a small brief hints of a good proposal.
Thank you very much. And on that topic, since Maria Jose was mentioning regarding the use of LLMs, it's not that we are all people healed against AI or anything. It's mostly about trying to get the best out of the proposals, and we understand that some people might use it. For example, as you have maybe noticed already, I am not a native English speaker, but I do know that some people rely on LLMs in order to maybe improve the abstract grammar, or maybe try to find some inconsistencies, or just to have it as an extra reviewing tool, right? So similarly to the link that Raquel just posted, once you click on submit a proposal, I just shared the link now, you might have more text there. We are sorry to put a lot of text, but believe me, it's necessary for you to read it. At the bottom, you can see there this year we're also being more explicit regarding the proposal restrictions. This year, we are making an exception because we had a few corner cases of situations, sadly, that people were using AI for submitting many proposals. And when I say many, I'm talking about more than 7 proposals. So this year, we are imposing a restriction that people can submit only up to 3 talks and tutorials combined, and a maximum of 2 posters, as you can read there. And it is completely fine that if you're using LLM to help you with something in your proposal, as long as you let us know in the additional information/notes section of the proposal, like, hey, I use some LLMs for improving the structure of the outline, something like that, it's completely fine. But if you don't say anything and we go and read a proposal and we see like a very LLM heavy structure abstract, for sure you will get bad scores from the reviewers. So please be aware of this. Maria Jose was describing also that the structure of this good proposal. This is something that we have been talking for many years now. It is also explicitly put in the guidelines there. You see in the same link that I share, the section proposal title and abstract, there are a few questions there. So I will just, for simplicity, in case you're here in Zoom, I will just share these questions there. There are like different questions regarding the context of your problem, what is the definition, or why this problem is interesting, what is the solution, and what people will learn. This is very important because we sometimes have the feeling that people think they only need to talk about the latest and greatest topic that is usually everyone discussing about it. This is not true. We also look for talks that can present different ideas that maybe are widely known by people, but from a different angle. I do remember a few talks in past years of people trying to go, for example, a deep dive into how do integers work in Python. You may say, what do you mean? It's just one variable. Well, there are some internal things happening, similar to strings. You can present some open source, maybe projects that you may have that you discover. And what we are not looking for it is that you can, for example, take your favorite module and do a talk that is literally called Introduction to the Module, blah. And then in this talk, I will give an introduction of this module and people will learn with an example. This is material that you can have for your blog post, your post on social media, everything. What we are looking into this conference is to have your twist, the twist of it. Like, what is your option to tackle this topic? So how, for example, pandas help me to improve the business that my family is running into a couple of lines of code. That's the interesting talk. The stories that you can tell from the modules, not really like a robotic kind of structuring things based on these modules. But okay, that's enough about all the things that I wanted to mention regarding how the CFP will work. We are almost eating half an hour of the meeting. And now, as I said, we have the QA section. Not sure, Raquel, if this is already enabled for everyone else. If not, I'm certain that people can raise your hands or use the chat to ask the questions that you have. No pressure for this. If you have questions, we have a few in order to start maybe this thing rolling for a couple of minutes, but we encourage you to please drop the questions or something maybe was not clear that you would like to raise. So I don't see any hands so far, so maybe let's start from our side. Something that maybe I will ask you again, Maria Jose, about first-time speakers. Is this something that you will say you encourage people to do? It's something that you review talks and give them -2 every first-time speaker. So what's the deal with first-time speakers?
I will encourage definitely first-time speakers to send proposal. just an anecdote. My first talk ever in industry was in EuroPython, and was an amazing experience. And I just encourage people to send the proposals. Of course, if you have any kind of challenge writing the abstract, we can support, as Christian was mentioning. But please, I encourage you to send it. It's an amazing experience. It's so gonna be very good for you and your career.
Cool. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Oh, cool. Jesse, you have your hand raised, so please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Christian, for this opportunity. My question is, for me, I am a first-time speaker. Speaking it internationally. I've been doing a lot of speaking in my local Python community here in Ghana, and so I want to find out what, in general, what kind of things are the committee responsible for looking out to finalize, like what priority do you give to first-time speakers as against those who have been speaking over the years?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm saying it because for me, I'm still confused on the particular topic that I want to give my talk on, and I do more of tutorials. So, what advice would you give to someone who would want to submit a tutorial to be taught at the conference?
Right. So I would say that I have two different advices regarding the type of proposals. For talks, at least when we need to have the final decision, I am more strict with experienced speakers. If they have some faults or some things in the abstract that sounds weird or not well structured, at least personally, I am more critical on those things. But with newcomers, I think that I am more flexible in the sense of like, I can allow it if someone is, I don't know, envisioning talking about a module, for example, as I said before, that in my head everyone knows. So I will encourage people, yeah, I mean, it's fine. But again, under the same umbrella of, I am more curious. This is just an example, it's not specifically about NumPy, for example. I am more curious to know how you have been using NumPy than how NumPy works in general for first-time speakers. And what I want to highlight here is the experience part. For me, it's crucial that newcomers share their experience with Python, how they have been learning Python, the models that they use, the project they have developed, as long as it's not framed as look at all my projects talk, but sharing how you have been approaching these things or teaching others as well. Some people in the past also have shown talks on, oh, I was before I don't know, a lawyer or a chemist or something, and then I moved to computer science by learning how to code and telling these stories. I think that they are very inspiring to have in the conference. So I would like for you to highlight your own skills and experience over the topic. So I will not recommend you or any first-time speaker to just jump there and say, for example, this is again an example, improving Python module with the Rust extension or whatever. If something is too technical, you might fall in the category that then I have the maintainers of the Rust binding generator or the specific module that also want to talk about that. So then you are competing with people that might be in a more advanced level. That's why I always try to put things of your experience and how to transfer this. That's for talks. For tutorials, since it's something that the ticket for the conference is something that people need to pay extra for it, we need to be more cautious on the tutorial. So if you are a first-time trainer for a tutorial, I will most likely encourage you to get another person that can help you in that. We allowed co-speakers, so in case you do have some contact with people in the community or in your circles that have more experience and they want to help you, that would be ideal. Because then if you don't show me as a first-time trainer in this conference that you had experience giving tutorials in other events, workshops, conference, or whatever, it's most likely that we'll be afraid of like, but I mean, do we want to bet on this person to give this tutorial alone to, I don't know, 80 people? And then we need to consider if you have, for example, some other resources that can complement your experience in this field. That would be a different approach for tutorials. Sorry for maybe the long run, yes, but was it more clear now for the talks?
Yes, it is now.
Cool. And if you have
Thanks a
another
lot.
question, just drop it on the chat or just raise your hand again. Thank you
Sure.
very much. Florian, I see your hand raised as well.
Yeah, you mentioned an integer talk for probably because of the internal representation in CPython, the integers, right? But what was special about that talk, like compared to a module?
I don't remember exactly the title, but it's something about, well, the title was a bit clickbaity in a way that there was something like something is wrong or you don't even know how it works, something like that. So that motivated me to read the abstract, and the abstract was most likely showing some quirks inside, like some casting that we are using sometimes in Python. Or I remember it was a very old one. So if you are familiarized with internals, I don't want to go too technical now, but do you know that, for example, until certain numbers in Python, most of the numbers were hard coded inside the code, so you didn't have, the whole building an object with the value and whatever. So all these little details of how Python handle numbers, what the most interesting part, because even though it might be widely known for many people with experience with CPython, for newcomers it's very interesting, like because you are learning how this simple, sometimes 2 + 2 can has all this process inside. So this was, I think, one of the details of it.
Okay, so compared to like a tutorial, because it was so in-depth and so still like easy to understand for people, or what was the special thing about that? I think that's what I'm still struggling with.
I mean, the person also had experience in talks. So when we were having the decision, of course, as a program team, we know who this person is, and we knew that this person was a speaker. I think it was 2 years ago, but we knew this person has a vast experience talking, and the talks were entertaining and everything. So this helped a lot on the.
Okay, yeah.
Because also you are right, because you can have this amazing topic, but if you are presenting, then let's say, yeah, now we go to the next frame, and then the frame object is converted, and it's like people will fall asleep immediately, right? So that would be more critical. Cool.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
that question, Florian. Travis, you have your hand
Hey,
raised.
thanks a lot for holding this session. And I did submit this question in my little form, so sorry if you already answered it, but because I would had a meeting otherwise. But yeah, so I'm considering to give a talk proposal for the ethics, social responsibility, sustainability, legal track. And specifically, I'm thinking about a talk focusing on sort of like, it's kind of a little bit fuzzy in my head still because I haven't written the abstract, but sort of the political and ecological implementations of increased AI usage and these kinds of things. And so I know that's not necessarily like strictly to do with Python, but it definitely has like kind of an indirect relationship with, the how we work and just the kind of overall like climate everybody does their work in. And I was just wondering like how flexible is the board or the people that are going to be accepting these talks with these types of talks, knowing that it's, maybe not entirely Python related. And if not, then yeah, how could I maybe make a more appealing talk proposal for this conference?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a very good question. This is a topic that is being widely discussed in every single conference, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
I would say that the most critical part there is that at least the message of the talk can be focused a little bit on Python developers. So you can talk about the cause of AI, for example, in general, and people might not be able to connect, right? But if you put these things into words like, oh, every time that you are running, I don't know, like whatever LLM with the Python API and to do this query, you know what happened inside. Like, I don't know, 1,000 clusters start to fire up, then the Amazon get destroyed. Like, I don't know, something about like that. And people might see, oh my God. So they start to see the connection with what they are doing. Before the whole LLM story, I think that we had also many talks I think it was this PyCon US, that many people wanted to talk about how eco-friendly were the whole like just training machine learning models, right? Again, and this person I remember put into perspective the same thing, like the training, the energy consumption, and comparing those things. I think that it was by home appliances or something like that, like how much energy you are spending into training a model compared to living in a house or something like that. I cannot remember the talk one. So if you put this thing in the perspective for Python users, so they can connect with your talk, giving examples or highlighting, as I said, API usages and the consumption or the implications of these queries, or even something, I don't know, some like a new project that you have that can, I don't know, puts this thing like, oh, you can measure how much you are using or something like that. That will be
Yeah.
the key for me.
And the other thing too is because I'm actually not I didn't study computer science in university, and I did my master's, and it was basically like a sort of like an economics, geography, urban studies type of degree that focused on sustainability. And so I'm kind of, and I thought it was like the neat thing about this talk is it could be a fun way to sort of introduce people that maybe don't know about these subjects to these subjects, or is that also something that I should kind of, maybe save for another type of conference?
I would say, as I said, again, if you complement it with Python in the middle, I think that is fine.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
so, and you mentioned this, you didn't study computer science, and this is something that it really depends on each organization. But I am more interested into talks of people that has not studied computer science and then discover something or joining into than listening to computer scientists talk about computer science in general,
Okay.
because the perspective is very different. So. But yeah, I think that I mean, worst case scenario, you can submit both if you have the time.
Yeah. I'll think about it, but yeah, it'll be fun, and I have a couple weeks still. So yeah, well, thanks a lot for
Cool.
the feedback. Really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Julia, raise your hand.
Yeah, I just want to add something to the topic. I think it's nice that Christian mentioned about LLMs, but also I thought it's nice to think that Python is widely used programming language, that it's also not used only artificial intelligence. Right now it's used for DevOps, for security, and so on. So I think any relevant new experience will be relative for Python talks, especially if you have even your experience, even not like out of developer field. For example, you use for medicine, you use for architecture, for geology. I think for everyone it also will be interesting. We also have different tracks so people can find the right place for that talk as well.
That's correct. Yes. Thank you, Julia, for sharing that. And since we're in the topic of finding topics, sorry for the redundancy there. Maria Jose, I know you work more closely with some data science. This topic for me as a non-data scientist is something that we receive every year in every conference. I think that the vast majority of talks are around the topic of artificial intelligence, data science, or machine learning. So, which are the topics that, for example, you would like to see that you believe that can make a nice impression on the people that is knowledgeable in this area? Like, oh, nice, this topic is something that is coming. This topic is something that we need to talk more, and it's not the usual like how to use, I don't know, TensorFlow with this thing, or that people might be bored.
Honestly, this is a very tricky question because now every year we have a kind of a boom or a hype for some specific subtopic inside the field. Last year, we're more focused. This year is very focused in agents and specifically the MCP protocol is very hype and very popular. I'm not sure if I will encourage you to send it in that direction. But if you are working on that and you feel passion of that and you have an amazing project, go ahead. But just to let you know, that probably going to be competence in this regard based in other conferences. And I would love to see, to be honest, the ideas of people from other backgrounds, as Travis was mentioning, as an example, with real applications and how Python has an impact on these disciplines and how Python is involved in all these projects. Yeah, of course, this year also gonna be then in the future. The future of AI gonna be a lot of small LLMs, not LLMs, SMLM, small ones. In case that someone is working on that, also gonna be interesting, because for some agents are people realizing that maybe have a big one is not the best. You can have a smaller ones doing different things. If someone is going in that direction, if people is working in cybersecurity related with AI, is another very interesting direction that and trend that we're gonna need also to take a look, because as with all the UE Act regulations, to have in count the GDPR and how we are going to handle all this legal perspective in AI, also going to be very interesting. There is a lot of movement in the voice side. If someone is working also with AI, voice, going to be very interesting. Of course, always images, videos. And of course, I have more ideas, but I don't want to give all the time to giving ideas. But if someone wants brainstorm some ideas or something, very happy to provide more insights.
Thank you. So there was another question that we got from the forum, and just to remind you all, we are almost like 15 minutes to the end of the meeting, so hopefully you can drop your questions. The sooner the better. So this question that Raquel posted there is that, are there any topics that you feel have been overplayed? For example, everyone is talking about them and it's hard to say something new. This is a very tricky question as well, because you might, at least I feel this, every time that you participate in a conference, you give a talk on topic A, then next year you want to participate again, and you in your head think, of course, now everyone knows about topic A. I should think about topic B. But the reality is that, I don't know if some of the board members here have the numbers of the amount of newcomers that we had last year at EuroPython, or maybe you have a ballpark percentage, but every year we have new people. So I would say that it's not a problem if you want to talk about something that had been extensively overplayed in conference, but as long as it's still relevant and can teach people something, that's very interesting. We have a few people, I will not say names, that I know that they send the same talks every single year. And some of them, some of those years, we accept the talks. Sometimes there's other people talking about these topics, and we accept the other ones, but it's not that there is a problem with the topics, but they need to still be relevant. For example, if you talk about now into the conference about using Python 2 for doing, for sure is not gonna make it. I mean, because it's not relevant anymore. I know that many people sadly out there are still in Python 2, but it's something that should not be. However, if you present, how we migrated from Python 2 to Python 3 by running this super amazing LLM or whatever, and then some people, I don't know, this may be interesting. So it's still relevant, like helping other tools and stuff. So I don't know if any of the board members remember the newcomers percentage last year, but I am almost certain that it was close to 50%. Oh no, I'm too.
Yeah.
Was it like that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was something like 50. I think a bit more than 50%.
Okay, so see, another thing that I think it was not asked, but I highly recommend you go to the website of last year's EuroPython, check the talks. Check the talks, check the topics that were accepted, and why not read the abstracts of those presentations? It's not that you will copy and paste the same thing, but you get an idea of, like, oh, I like to talk about this topic. But this person talk about in this direction. I want to do something different. So you maybe want to present something similar with a different perspective or a different kind of like opinions on which tool to use or something like that. There is another Milena Mirnik. At the risk of sounding lazy, it's okay to present a talk that has been presented. Oh, that's a very good question, Milena. Can you present talks that have been in other conference? Yes, you can. We do have, I think, I don't remember if this is conference or another one. We do have a field when we ask you if this talk has been presented somewhere else. If the talk has been presented last year at EuroPython, then I would say no. If it's in another conference, I would say, yes, why not? Because the audience of the different conference is not the same. And even if those talks are on YouTube, sometimes it's worth it to have it here because people might be interested. Keep in mind that one of the most important goals of EuroPython is to have a positive impact in the local community, right? So this now that we are leaving behind Prague, I will miss all the cheap beer, and we're going to Poland. It's a new community that we're trying to embrace and help to nurture these things. So for sure, Milena, if you did a talk at PyLadiesCon, I have almost certainty that not even 10% of the people that will be participating next year in EuroPython attended PyLadiesCon because it's completely different audience. So please do it as well. If the talk is relevant, maybe you want to update it a little bit. Maybe you want to revisit, like, oh, maybe the title was not the right one, or the abstract, I should maybe tweak it a little bit. Feel free to it, but it's completely fine if you submit it again. So Lawrence also had a question. I have a question. How important is selecting the right track if I feel the abstract I'm thinking of submitting could fit into? That's a good question as well. I would say don't worry much as long as both tracks make sense in a way. So I remember once we had a system that it was something like a web-based client for LLM, whatever, and then we were in this discussion like, well, this is a web talk or an LLM talk. The talk was not rejected. I remember we accepted it. Oh my God, I have a mix in my head. But I remember that in one case we did ask the person like, hey, we believe your talk might be better fit for the web instead of the LLM one. Will you be okay with it? And so yes, it's fine. So we move the talk around. It's not something that might disqualify you or anything. So don't worry about it. It's something that we can correct. But of course, when we try to do it, we always ask you. But it will not play against you if you miscategorize your talk.
And I also think in Pretext, the special sections is available only comments for the program team.
Yes.
So if you have doubts, you can just put some notes there and we will review it and take in consideration.
Exactly. That's I think it is called internal notes this year. So then you know that you can share that thing, for example, Lauren saying like, hey, I also believe that this can be in this category. That's enough. And there's another question here from Raquel. I would like to learn more about what type of talks are and aren't acceptable for the ethics, social, and responsibility. Is this maybe the one that you submitted, Travis? Sustainability legal, or is it a different one?
The
In the chat about the
Oh,
ethical.
right, yeah. That's the one I
Okay,
submitted.
so we will just keep
so.
it. We will just keep it for the sake of the meeting. Maybe we can have another question. I'm just looking here into the all year, the previous year, sorry. There's maybe, I don't want to put you on the spot again, Maria Jose, but as a reviewer of other conference, which talk is, what do you see in the talk that makes you automatically think, oh my God, no, this talk should not be in the conference?
Yeah. For me, and no is when you see clearly that this promotion talk. So when you see that someone is trying to sell you a product and not sharing knowledge, it's like, oh no, this should not be, at least in general track.
Yeah. So the talk can be, of course, if your company is working in an open source project and you want to present this thing. What I recommend you is not to say, I work in company A and I want to present this new project called B, but just explain a way of how this project B is helping people out there to solve some problems. That's more interesting. And it's fine if your company is doing it and it's open source. What is not fine, sometimes we have seen some projects with like, oh yeah, for only $9.99 monthly, you can get this amazing service. And it was like, no, this is not a ad board or anything. And the other thing that I will share with you, since you have survived already 50 minutes of the meeting, we're almost done. If you put your abstract with the structure that we have in the documentation, like definition of the context, definition of the problem, why it is important, your solution, what people will, not in this like explicitly putting those points, but having a nice structure overall, you are already in the top 10% of the people in the conference. And this is, you might think, no, how do you mean 10%? No, you are. Sometimes we have people submitting an abstract with 2 lines. And this is, for me, is a no. Automatic -1 to the score, and then this thing will not even be considered. The only reason that we can consider is that then we notice that you are also have one of the Nobel Prizes that was given maybe last year, and oh, maybe we need to consider this person again. But otherwise, if your abstract is weak, your talk will most likely will be rejected. Think about it as an elevator pitch if you are more into startup scene. This thing needs to convince people to attend your talk. So that's why it's so crucial. What do we have? Right. So you shared something like that, and then Raquel, you said some questions from the forum. Is the mentorship specifically about speaking at EuroPython or in general about speaking at conference? Do you have mentorships that have more general? So yeah, we are running also the speaker mentorship, sorry, it's very late. Speaker mentorship, and it's something that you can find. I think that Raquel, you already share the forms. If not, I'm for sure you will do. Perfect. Thank you very much, Raquel. We run this thing mostly for first-time speakers, and if you have experience, you can also join as a mentor and help others. I would say that this is very general. It's not EuroPython specific. I know a couple of other conferences. I would say that the definition of a good speaker or a good talk is quite similar. So if you join this thing, I think that you will benefit for sure to improve maybe your talking skills or presenting skills. Sometimes there are advice on how to present ideas or creating slides and stuff. So completely encouraging you to participate in this because it's very useful. And I know many people also can perfect the pride of like, yeah, of course I know how to give talks, but maybe join one and then see if you learn something new. Maybe you have a couple of tricks. And the first time speakers, we already tackled that with you, Maria Jose. But maybe you have some additional pointers that you want to share besides the one that I was mentioning regarding experience. Not really?
Not really. I
Okay.
think that was very complex.
And then the other question is that it's okay to pick a niche that you don't have experience but have an interest. This also is a complicated topic. The question 3 that Raquel shared on the chat. It really depends of your capacity of learning new things. Again, if you are picking a topic, you are completely new to it, and you want to share half of your experience and half of what you achieve, might be very useful, so beneficial. So for example, if you're reading the talks in the schedule, and then you see a talk that is entitled like "How Breaking My TV Teach Me How to Use Better MicroPython," maybe you will feel, okay, what happened here, right? Or save your money and build it yourself. Learning how to deal with, I don't know, embedded systems at Python or something. You might feel the interest of because this person had a problem, tried to solve it with something completely unaware of it, and then decided to jump and learn something. This might be very interesting if you have experience. Of course, I will not recommend you to jump into super complicated topics that might be besides the internals of the interpreter, maybe some latest feature of Python that sometimes we do have core developers around giving talks about those topics. You might be risking that, of course, you want to go there with all your energy to teach about the latest features, but maybe there are some details that you don't feel familiar with. Maybe it's not necessary for you to do that. Again, it all depends on perspective. If you want to present those things from, oh, how I learned the latest features by using this something else, maybe that's more interesting than just presenting the latest and greatest. I don't think that we have more questions. I don't know if Julia or Maria Jose, you have more things from the one that we gathered before. I know Raquel has been posting them so far. Something that tutorials. Well, sadly, another member of the program team is not here, which is has more experience with tutorials, but at least we share the same opinion. If you're interested to share submit a tutorial, sorry, we are looking for tutorials and not very long talks. There's a lot of people that think that tutorial is just sitting there talking for 2 hours, give you an exercise that you will solve in 10 minutes and then go home. Tutorials need to be hands-on. one of the questions that we have for people submitting tutorials is that how much is the percentage of hands-on experience during the couple of hours the tutorial is running? It's very important for you to get pointers on it, and then people can do things. Tutorials needs to be hands-on experiences, not only talks. Similar to posters, we also have post. Oh, Julia, you raised your hand. You want to complement tutorials?
Yeah, especially for tutorials, it's very important for reviewers and also for us program team. When we check is it good tutorial, we also check outline. So it would be nice if a person will take time and really write good outline what they want to do during tutorial, and also most probably like time, how much they want to spend time on specific parts.
That's a very good point. We also have posters. Posters are, I would say that I don't know how normal it is to submit a poster for people that doesn't have an academic background, but we usually encourage people to have these little projects that maybe are not enough for a talk, or maybe you want to show a way of architecture of something that might not be maybe full enough for a 30-minute talk or something like that. You can always submit it to posters. Posters sometimes shows how some communities work, how some programs or initiatives inside communities has been doing. I remember looking at posters of people sharing some architectures or some software solutions, showing some hands-on experience, robots, and all the other things. So if poster is your thing, that's also very encouraged. The idea of those is that we enabled you a couple of times minimum, you can be more time, that you can be around the poster, people approach you, ask questions, and that's it. We have usually an area where you can ask these things. Cool. Do we have any last questions? We have a couple of minutes to go. I think that what is important is the contact email, Raquel, if you can, I don't know if you posted already. Perfect. Raquel also shared now a summary of all the things that we have been discussing. More importantly, speaker mentorship, in case you want to participate as a mentee or mentor, the direct link for you to submit the talk, the email that is very important in case you have some questions. You can reach the whole program team if you write a program at EuroPython.eu, and similarly with the information of the conference. So I don't see any other hands raised. So I would say that maybe we can conclude the recording right now. And